Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Plus. Have you ever wondered why some states get more money from the centre? What is the revenue sharing formula? The thorny issue of revenue sharing between states and the centre has once again cropped up, with a report stating that southern states are continuing to bear the burden of ensuring development of backward states. For the uninitiated, the centre's tax collections are pooled in from the states as a part of it is distributed among states. The Finance Commission's formula is skewed in favour of some states, resulting in wide interstate variation. As population is given a higher weightage, it tilts the balance in favour of some northern states. Now, in a country like India, how can we achieve an equitable distribution with this structure? That, of course, is the big talking point that we're discussing here. With me in the studio is my colleague Brijesh Pandey, who's the political editor here at Newsline. Brijesh, the statements that the southern states are making really augurs well within the entire country, because as we were discussing just a couple of minutes back, it feels like you're giving higher weightage to a child that is underperforming, for that matter.
I think, that is not going to be politically correct for most of the people. But yes, I think, what PTR Thiagarajan has been saying is something which makes sense. I'm not saying that, you have to allocate the situation, allocate the fund to a level where it is like you're completely in the favor of the states which are paying more. But then definitely you have to meet them midway. You cannot penalize a state for, being very efficient, for contributing more to the economy and being self-sufficient. PTR had a very valid point that this means that whatever is going down, whatever is being allocated to those states which are not performing up to the mark, then there has to be a system which has to be put in place to ensure that, at least you are tracking the money where it is going. And if it is not performing up to the level, then you should be in a position to counter them, ask them and hold those states responsible for not being up to the mark.
Okay. I think the classic argument here in this case is that these states that get more money are usually those states that have higher population. How far do you justify this formula where states with higher population are getting more funding as opposed to states that are really doing well?
Well, there's a time when, when you actually have to, look after the states which have not performed that well, or like the saying goes, the Bimaru states and all, especially which is related to North India. But the fact is that yes, they have to be looked after. But the percentage which decides, the population is the only percentage which is the major determining factor. Then I do agree that it needs a bit of a relook, though it will further fuel this north-south divide, and it will become politically a contentious issue as far as the southern states and the northern states are concerned. But I think they do have a merit. It does need a relook, and states which are performing, you cannot penalize a performer and just to put everything back to the underperformer. Theoretically, yes, it makes sense, but even if the underperformer is there, then you have to balance, the proportion has to be balanced before it gets out of hand.
Okay, my colleague Rakesh Kar is also joining us in the newsroom. Rakesh, a fair point there. You cannot really punish the performer while keep supporting the underperformer. I want to understand this from a finance point of view, from an economics point of view. How exactly does Finance Commission meet, and why hasn't there been a change in the formula over these many years?
See, it's a ticklish issue. They have to balance, the overall kitty has to grow first of all. Let's all contribute to growing the overall kitty. What happens is that if you don't grow the kitty, this division between less rich states and poorer states will keep continuing, and there will be a battle on that. This demand has taken place again in the recent past because of this larger federal India story. What's happening is that if there was a BJP ruled state in the south and the centre is being ruled by the south, this particular wouldn't have happened.
Absolutely.
So it's more political, less economics, unfortunately. We have to look at this story with general elections happening in 2024. The demand for a south to get better paid than what is happening right now is going to increase. What is the role the Finance Commission can do? It has to look at the overall kitty, see how it grows, and then how does it get distributed fairly. There is merit, like Brijesh was saying, in southern states asking for a little more money accruing to them. But who will feed poorer states? When we got independence 75 years ago, there was one nation and everybody looked at growing the economic kitty. So that basic objective has to be sustained. I think we must not fall prey to this demand in terms of making a political point of it, but engagement has to be continual. Finance Commission, Finance Ministry, respective finance ministers must get together and see how they can try and bridge this demand supply gap between rich and poor states.
Okay.
And there's another interesting perspective to this. If you look historically in the last decade or so, a state like UP is asking and aspiring to be a 1 trillion economy. So if that's happening, in that context, every state has an aspiration to grow. It's not that we have a poor child not imagining to get rich. So the rich are getting richer, but the poorer states are also wanting to do better. Chhattisgarh, for instance, it also has made announcements. It's working hard to try and improve itself so that it can stand on its own 2 feet.
Okay. One of the Brijesh, before I get you in, one of the contention is that states, despite getting substantial share of the revenues, like UP for that matter, and we are talking about $1 trillion economy, but they haven't developed as substantially as, let's say, a state of Tamil Nadu or Andhra. I mean, the states continue to push for the fact that where exactly is the money going if there is no development on the ground?
Well, I think fiscal prudence and accountability for money which is being given to the state is one subject which I think everybody would really want to know, because the governments or the political parties make all kind of announcements just to make sure that they get votes or they get to form a government in a particular state or win elections. The OPS scheme is another big bone of contention as far as whether good politics makes for very bad economics. And I think Rakesh had a very fair point there. It's run up to 2024 election. If you remember, 3-4 months back, PTR Thiagarajan was very vociferous and defended himself in a national TV channel, where he took the BJP guy for task. He's saying that we are the one who are performing better, and you are the one who is sitting there and lecturing us. So this confrontation, this is something which is going to increase further as we go towards 2024 general election.
Okay. What can we expect from Finance Commission, Rakesh?
Finance Commission meets continually. We must not expect and put too much hope on Finance Commission. We have to address, it's an academic institution in that sense. There has to be political intervention. I think the Government of India, the centre, has to engage with various states, both the developed and the developing states, and say that you would have tremendous pressure from your domestic constituency, that's the voter, and the citizen of that state to ask for more. But you have to do a fine balance, and the engagement process at the political level, at the administrative level, will yield better results. And also the key argument has to be that, for instance, Tamil Nadu, Brijesh mentioned. Why is it that companies of large size or the manufacturing is located essentially in, say, Tamil Nadu or in Maharashtra? So it's not some divine boon that it has happened. They are located, there is a certain culture that the state has developed, and there is a geographical advantage. You're closer to ports, you're closer to transportation, and then you have skilled capital. That aspiration, I think each and every state has now. The happy part is that, as I said, and I repeat, every state today in the federal environment is extremely competitive. Look at the Foxconn project. Bangalore, that's Karnataka, and Maharashtra, and few other states, they're all competing for that one project, and they're writing to both and Telangana. Yes. So and the Foxconn is writing letters to both the chief ministers, Telangana and Karnataka, saying that I'm coming. You keep wooing me, I'll come there, and I'll finally decide who to go for. So that's the positive side. The negative side is, I think, because of the political environment being little intense, 2024, and Tamil Nadu being run by a non-BJP government, and centre also intensifying its pressure on, say, Telangana and Tamil Nadu in other matters. So in that sense, this is showing, the pressure is showing somewhere else. So where does the rupee go and where does it come from? This, I think, is incidental, though it's very important to discuss it. But there is no outright solution that suddenly UP will stop getting the money, or Uttarakhand will stop getting the money, and Tamil Nadu will get all the money. It doesn't work that way, and I think the Tamil Nadu finance minister is a bright chap. He also knows it. But he knows it, yet he'll keep pushing the envelope.
Okay. How do you see the politics of it playing out, Brijesh?
No, he very well put out, that politics is going to further intensify. They all know that what they are rooting for. Elections are around the corner. Every party would want to win as many Lok Sabha seats as possible to ensure that they have a very commanding say when it comes to 2024 general election. And the reason why PTR is also going, all guns blazing is also, to push for the Tamilian pride and how, we perform better than the centre in all the index. So, when it comes to to election, we are a better bit than against the kind of politics which is being played by the BJP, or the kind of push which is being made by the BJP. So that factor is also there at play. BJP has a new party president there who is Annamalai, who is going very ballistic, taking Stalin government to task. So I think there's a lot of politics, slightly less economic, but more of politics is there, and I think it will continue till 2024 general elections are held. But once the dust settles down and it becomes clear as to which party has how many Lok Sabha seats, I think then based on that margin, you will start understanding how it will play out post 2024.
Okay, I understand it's more political, less economics, but I'm still going to ask an economic question here, Rakesh. We know population is one of the deciding factors as to what state gets how much. What, according to you, if there is a change, if we can think of a change in the near term, what exactly should be the factors that should come into play, when decisions are made as to how much revenue goes to what states?
I repeat, Shweta, see, fundamentally, all of us have to collectively work towards increasing the size of the cake. If we don't do that, I'm very happy with one state competing with the other state, going for global investment road shows. All that should lead to increasing the size of the cake. If that happens, I think there's going to be some happiness at the end of it. Otherwise, if the size of the cake is reducing, how can you bring equity? Wealth creation is very important. For that, people who are making money have to grow. I think one redeeming factor here is the learning from GST. GST also started on a very contentious note, which state gets how much, because it's a taxation revenue. Finally, we found some solace there. There are still some challenges in terms of the GST structure, but by and large, for the last, I think, so many years now, ever since it's been built as one major economic growth story, born out of sheer consensus across political parties, I think that should drive our agenda when it comes to these contentious issues of which state gets how much money. But as an Indian, everybody is equal. Let's remember that. We'll make our politics, we'll win elections, but if we start dividing the country or the cake in terms of you are a poorer guy and I'm a richer guy, we are going nowhere.
Okay, let's not divide the cake. That's the message coming in from our business editor here, Brijesh. Thanks very much, Rakesh. Thanks very much for joining us on this big story. We're going to shift focus for now.